So here it is. US record of abandonment of lawful permanent resident status. I'm about to complete this form I-407, to renounce my permanent resident status of the US, i.e. I'm giving up my green card. Exactly 3 years ago today that I came to live in Poland, and at this point now will not be returning to live permanently in the US, so renouncing my status. And I thought with this video, I would give you the 10 reasons why I've decided to make Poland my home, why I love it so much over the US. Hi everyone. So like I said, 3 years ago exactly today, December 16, since I arrived in Krakow from Los Angeles, arriving here knowing very little about Poland and Krakow itself and how it was going to work out living here. 3 years later, now today, filling in this form to renounce my green card to live in Krakow with residency in Krakow. And wanted to just give my thoughts on the things that have made this move so great for me and why I've really come to love this country as a home. The first one has to be just the people. I work in an office with 500 people, most of whom are Poles, but I work for an American company and I report to Los Angeles still. But the Polish people that I work with and the Polish people that I interact with through my social media, who contact me not just from Poland, but all around the world, and friends and people we just meet day to day here, whether it's in the markets, doctors, nurses, so on. I just really have come to have huge respect and just like the Polish people. Find them very easy to deal with, straightforward people, honest people, really value, I think, the right things in life. They don't overcomplicate life. Super friendly, super helpful, and you know, very proud, really proud of their country. It absolutely shines through, and very forward-looking people, with a lot of optimism, I think, about where this country is going and headed. And if I compare that to the States, it just beats it hands down. My experience working with the people in the US, good and bad. Some fantastic people, but some horrible people. A lot of fake people, and a ton of hypocritical people. The ones that typically go on the most about being God-fearing and Christian, and the ones that really kind of hold themselves out to be people tend out to be the least nice people. And some, you know, some really unpleasant experiences, a lot more than I've encountered here in Poland. Polish people, I just find very genuine people, and it's an absolute quality. As I travel the world with what I do, the Polish people, as much as anybody, I just really respect how it is to interact with them. So people has to be number one. Number two is just the sheer beauty of the country. You know, I probably, like many of you, had an impression in my head of Poland and Krakow before I came to live here. I was kind of somewhat reminiscent of the communist era, maybe like a lot of concrete and a lot of grey, and perhaps a country that would be very drab. That could not be further from reality. I think people that come to Poland are blown away by the sheer beauty of the country in every corner. It's actually a pretty vast country. But whether we're talking about the cities, or we're talking about the countryside, or we're talking about the coast, or we're talking about the mountains, or we're talking about the lakes, it's just beauty after beauty after beauty. There are very little pockets of the kind of communist grey stuff. And it kind of like, they're almost cute, because it's nice that there's still something you can go take a look at. But that is not at all what the country is like. And I live in Krakow, which, I don't know, I'm a little biased, but for me, it must be a contender for one of the most beautiful cities in the world. You know, centuries of unspoiled history, a centuries-old city centre that's pedestrianised, one of the greenest capitals, well, it's not a capital, one of the greenest cities in Europe. Tons and tons of green space, beautiful parks, and breathtaking architecture that's remained untouched, and very little modern building to spoil that, certainly around the centre, which just makes for a breathtaking place to live, and really enhances the quality of life. But it's not just Krakow. It's literally, you know, I got another friend, blogger, who's making videos all over the country and having huge success with it, because everywhere she goes, it's just drop dead gorgeous. And I mentioned the history, you know, I mean, of course, every country has its history, but the history here is just so powerful, especially in Krakow. You've got the medieval history. You've got World War II history in this city like no other. The way that this city was impacted by World War II, with the whole Jewish community, the ghetto, the fact that the Germans loved this city and loved living here and even developed some of it while they were here, the communist era, it just means that on every corner that you go, you're touching like real life history. And it's not in the museum. It's around you all the time, and you feel it, and it's really powerful. Even the medieval stuff. If you go to Wawel Castle, some of these buildings date back centuries and centuries and centuries, and it's breathtaking. But it's absolutely real history, incredibly interesting. I've lived here for 3 years. I'm still scratching the surface of what I need to know about the history of Krakow. Never mind the history of Poland, which is a whole other story. I mean, this country has been through a lot for a period of time it didn't even exist. But it is, as much as any country you could go into in the world, packed, jam-packed with living, breathing history. Number 4, it's a country that is on the up. You just feel it in the air. I don't know that the Poles feel it. You know, they've lived here all their lives. Sometimes I think they're curious about how others look at Poland. But for me, you just feel here that this is a country that's going places. You can tell its place in the world is becoming more and more important, having a bigger voice. It's becoming a powerhouse in the EU. Its economy is on the up. And you feel it when you walk around. Maybe a lot of Poles might disagree with me, because everybody has different circumstances in life. But when you walk around, this just feels like a country that's got some really strong momentum to it. I was back in the UK in the summer. It was heartbreaking for me. Heartbreaking to walk high streets and see so many abandoned buildings, homeless people, and just something in the air. It just felt like a country that was going downhill. And you know, when you watch the news and things to do with the UK, it's like Everything's a problem. The schools, the hospitals, lack of investment, and all the things that people want. It just feels like a country that is struggling and declining. And, once upon a time, there used to be a flood of immigrants from Poland to places like England, thinking it was a better quality of life. A lot of those Polish people are coming back. And I got to tell you, I came from Los Angeles. I've lived in London. This is one of the most positive, positive, the feeling is a positive feeling. It's one of the most positive places I've lived. It's a country that, for all of its forward momentum, it's still got some old-fashioned values, and maybe not everybody appreciates old-fashioned values, but I do. It's not a country where they preach the message. I watch a lot of social media about, the Hollywood movies, the Disney movies and everything, and everybody is so sick of being preached at now. All of the messages, all of the time, on equality, and what have you. And here it just doesn't happen. The values are a little bit sort of the old-fashioned values from decades ago. It's a very, very Christian country still. I've not been asked once in 3 years here, what my pronoun is. It's not something that features here as something important today. Now, I know there'd be really strong debate about whether that's a good thing or not, but for me, I kind of like that people here do not have these incredible sensitivities that the rest of the world seem to be developing at the moment. You can kind of speak your mind more freely here, be a bit more open, and people are very okay with that. Here. As I see it, I'm sure there's repressed groups here that would disagree with me. But I think the rest of the world is beginning to wake up to all this wokeism and wishing that they could rewind the clock a little bit back 10 or 20 years. That's how it feels here. Except we didn't rewind it. It didn't happen here. So really powerful, modern, forward-looking country, but with some old-fashioned sensibilities. That's awesome. It's a super modern country as well. I've got a lot of social media, and I see visitors, especially from the UK, saying, can you pay with credit card? Like, have a picture in their mind that Poland is some backwater of very primitive kind of feudal systems. It's not at all. It's as modern as any country in the world. Everywhere I go, I'm paying on my phone. Everything is digital. It's got every modern convenience. In fact, I'm sure more so than many of the other countries. I haven't missed anything moving from California to Poland. In fact, I would say that there's technologies and things here that I benefit from even more in Poland. A big one for me is medical stuff, medical care. Again, I'm sure Polish people might want to argue this with me, but for me, the medical system here is fabulous. It's a little bit, for me, a mix of private and public. I got a few conditions that I got to see specialists about. And recently I had something that was so specialized that it was the treatment when I had in the US. Just to see these guys cost thousands of dollars and huge amounts, even with insurance, with co-pays and that sort of thing. I can get to those specialists here. I can book to go see them immediately, and I can do that privately. But I just call up like I do within the States, book an appointment. In my case, a few days later, talking to the specialist. Total cost, $50. And they apologize for charging you the $50. But $50 and you're done and you get what you want. And then for ongoing treatment, sign me up at the hospital. And from that point on, everything free. Everything completely free. None of this crap. You go into the US hospital, the first conversation you have is What insurance have you got? Give us your credit card. Here you go somewhere, you're talking about your medical condition. But that ability to sort of do it a little bit privately, to connect with somebody that you want, when you want, for money that's a lot less than you'd pay, certainly in the States, and then to get seen in the healthcare system free of charge is mind-blowing to me. I had a huge issue with my eye a few months ago, day before I was traveling internationally. I had to go to the ER. Within 90 minutes, I was in and out. I saw an eye specialist, fixed my eye, got my medicines, and was out of the hospital on a Sunday, on a bank holiday weekend. Unbelievable. And maybe that's not a normal situation. Perhaps I got lucky. You try doing that in the UK. If you try doing that in the US, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars. Sure, you wouldn't get it done as quickly. If you try doing it in the UK, you're probably waiting months before you get to see who you need to see, or waiting, hours and hours endlessly in the accident and emergency rooms. Here, 90 minutes in and out. And the level of professionalism and how it was tackled, spot on. This has blown my mind, right? This is one of the things that I would not contemplate. Like if I had to go back to the UK or the US, it would be a massive negative. The healthcare here, big positive. And I include like prescription medicine as well. It's not free here, but again, a mere fraction of the medicines, the prescriptions that you get in the US. That whole system is just absolutely crooked in the US, and your consumers are paying for it. In the UK, it's going the same way. Here, you pay a reasonable price for your meds. I find it reasonable. Maybe not everybody will, but compared to other countries that I've lived in, it is night and day, and a massive benefit of staying here. And of course, in a city like Krakow, every type of medical care and specialist that you need. I had something very specialized. Had the guy here. Couldn't have been happier with the treatment that I got. And I think I'm up to number 7. Generally, that kind of leads into overall cost of living. It's certainly got more expensive in the 3 years that I've been here. One of the restaurants I was at, I know prices are almost 50% more than they were the first year that we were living here. So it's becoming less. I'm never going to say cheap because people don't find it cheap here, but cost of living here is very favorable compared to most of the EU, and certainly the US and the UK, and it still is. I was back in the UK in the summer and utterly shocked at the prices of stuff, just day-to-day general stuff. The prices were insane. Can't believe what's happened there. So here, prices have gone up, but compare so favorably. And I live near like a produce market and good supermarkets and stuff. I never feel ripped off when I go, even if Nina's a little more price sensitive than me, and she'll be annoyed if we pay 25% more somewhere than somewhere else. But for me, it's all so reasonably priced in the first place that I never feel like I've been hard done. Your money just goes further here, including our home. A mere fraction of what we'd have paid in the US. And I mentioned about going to the market, so let's talk about food. A positive for me here is just the simplicity, the good old simplicity of stuff. If you go to the produce market, you don't feel like you're buying. You've got all the stuff that you want, right? Most of it Polish grown. You just don't think that you're eating all this genetically modified crap. It just feels like good old-fashioned farm-produced produce. Goes for the meat, which is sensational. Goes for the veg, the fruits, And personally, my freaking gastro health is vastly improved compared to how it was in Los Angeles. God knows what I was sticking in my stomach in what I was eating in Los Angeles. And so same when you go to the restaurants, because they're cooking with this stuff here. And a lot of Polish cuisine is kind of fairly straightforward food, and I like that. But you can get everything here, from amazing street food to really great fine dining. But I just generally feel that, you know, the quality of the produce here is excellent. Poland is, you know, a very agricultural nation, without all of this shit that you get, especially compared to the US. It's like, who knows what you're eating there, really. Transportation infrastructure here, it just freaking works. It just works. The trams here, very economical. The buses, the trains, they're on time. There's boards, tell you when they're coming. They come on time. They're dependable. They're very reasonably priced. They're clean. It's a transportation network. The public transportation network even works, just works. And it works well. They seem to do it the right way. The other countries can't do it. Certainly the UK. Reasonably priced. Even through the kind of airline travel, I'm lucky that I live in Krakow. 15 minutes from my home to a really great airport. I'm in Central Europe. So well positioned that so many awesome places within an hour or two's flight, including then many great hubs like Amsterdam or Frankfurt for onward travel anywhere in the world. For a guy like me, travels the globe for a living, Krakow is a fantastic place to be located. Quite often I can leave here and within 30 minutes, I'm in the departure lounge. 30 minutes, everything done. Everything done. I'm one of these guys that still likes to get the airport 2 hours early. I'm forever spending those 2 hours sitting waiting in the airport, because all of the procedural stuff seem to get done really well. Great connections from the airport to the city. Warsaw Airport, just as good. You know, you think transport is something that should be works well, you take for granted. Tell you get to places like the UK and everything, it's a disaster compared to here. So if you get them in, it's just the basic things in life. The basic things in life done well. Done properly here. What a difference that makes. That puts a smile on your face. As opposed to, you know, people in here have a smile on their face. Not all of them. But yeah, it creates a sense in the air of something good. And people are so proud. They're so proud of their country. And, you know, they've got really good reason to be. And you touch it and feel it and you want it. You want to be part of it. I'm proud. I'm proud to make my home in Poland. It's such a... The experience is so positive compared to what I thought it might be or how I'd imagined it. That's why I've been here 3 years. That's why today I'm completing my form, sending my green card back to Uncle Sam. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.